One kiss cam moment. One offhand joke from Chris Martin. And in seconds a private life was ripped open and thrown to the world. What looked like an awkward laugh at a Coldplay concert turned into a nightmare that followed Kristin Cabot home. Within days, strangers weren't just judging her, they were threatening her. And behind closed doors, her kids were asking questions no child should ever have to ask. Afraid their mother might d*e because the internet decided she deserved it. The internet didn't hesitate. Within hours, armchair detectives were piecing everything together. The blurry kiss cam clip was slowed down, zoomed in, reposted again and again. Names were uncovered. Job titles exposed. What started as two anonymous faces in a crowd became the HR chief and the CEO by the next morning. The TikTok alone racked up tens of millions of views, and the hashtag Coldplaygate took over feeds everywhere. Strangers who had never heard of Kristin Cabot suddenly felt entitled to judge her entire life. And once the internet had a narrative, there was no turning back. And then the details made it even worse. Kristin wasn't just another executive caught in an awkward moment. She was the head of HR, the person tasked with enforcing boundaries, ethics, and workplace conduct. And the man beside her wasn't a coworker. He was the CEO. The optics couldn't have been more brutal. Kristin later admitted she'd had a few drinks, let her guard down, and made a bad decision. She didn't deny it. In her own words, it was so cliché and so bad. The exact scenario companies warn about in training videos, except this one was playing out in real time for millions to judge. And that realization only fueled what came next. The consequences hit fast, and from every direction. Inside the company, a formal investigation was launched almost immediately. The CEO resigned. Lawyers stepped in. What had been a night of music turned into boardrooms, statements, and damage control. Kristin was eventually told she could return to her role, but she knew the truth. Standing in front of employees as the head of HR after becoming a viral punchline wasn't realistic. So she chose to walk away, effectively ending the career she had built for years. At home, things were unraveling too. She was already in the middle of an amicable separation, trying to protect her family from stress. Now that privacy was gone, conversations became harder. Trust was tested. And the fallout from one public moment began reshaping every part of her personal life. Then the tone online shifted from judgment to something much darker. Kristin says the internet didn't just criticize her, it hunted her. Her name was dragged through comment sections. She was labeled vile things. Her looks, her past, her character were ripped apart by strangers who felt untouchable behind screens. Her private information was leaked. Her phone started ringing non-stop, hundreds of calls a day from numbers she didn't recognize. Soon, paparazzi were parked outside her home. And then came the messages that crossed a terrifying line. Threats. Explicit ones. The kind that make you look over your shoulder. What began as a viral joke had turned into a situation where safety was no longer guaranteed. And for Kristin, that's when fear replaced embarrassment. But the hardest part wasn't losing her job or her reputation. That IT was watching what this did to her kids. Kristin says her children became scared to be seen with her in public. Scared of the stares. Scared of the whispers. And eventually scared of something far worse. They started asking if she was safe. If someone was going to hurt her. If they were in danger too. At one point, they genuinely believed their mother might d*e because of what was happening online. That was the breaking point. Not the memes. Not the headlines. But realizing that a kiss cam clip had robbed her kids of their sense of safety. In that moment, the internet's cruelty stopped being abstract. It became real, terrifying, and deeply personal. For months, Kristin stayed quiet while the world decided who she was. She watched as strangers turned her humiliation into entertainment. As celebrities joked about it. As the internet moved on without ever seeing the damage left behind. But behind the scenes, she was rebuilding from nothing. Finalizing a divorce, protecting her kids, and learning how to live without the career that once defined her. Now she's finally breaking her silence. Not to deny what happened, but to own it. She admits she made a bad decision and paid for it with her job. Contact with Andy has faded, and both have tried to move on. What she wants people to understand is simple. Accountability should not come with threats, fear, or the terror inflicted on innocent children. And that's the part of this story most people never saw. In the end, one fleeting moment under the lights of a Coldplay concert changed everything for Kristin Cabot. A laugh, a kiss cam, and a few seconds of visibility turned into months of fear, online attacks, and a public trial by social media. Her career ended. Her privacy vanished. And her children faced real fear for the first time in their lives. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the internet can turn amusement into cruelty, mistakes into punishment, and moments into lifelong consequences. Kristin's story forces us to ask, when does public judgment go too far? And how much power should strangers really have over someone else's life? Because behind every viral clip is a real person, and sometimes the cost is far higher than anyone realizes.